Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with your main event of the evening. First, introducing your man in charge of the action, referee Jorge Alonso. All right, fight fans, here we go. Introducing first, in the blue corner, from Caruaru, Brazil. He weighed in at 228 pounds with a professional record of 24 victories, 4 defeats, 19 big victories, coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks trimmed in white, here is Jose da Silva. His opponent stands opposite in the corner to my left from Hollywood, Florida. He tipped the scales at 237 fighting pounds. He has an awesome record of 45 big victories, only 3 defeats, 1 draw, 35 of those victories coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the former light heavyweight champion and the 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, the one and only Michael Moore. Here is your referee, last minute instructions, 10 rounds, heavyweights.
You guys were given instructions, okay? I want to expect a clean fight from both of you. Any questions, Michael corner? Any questions here? Touch him up.
Fight sanctioned by the Florida State Athletic Commission, 10-point must scoring system, no standing 8 count in the state of Florida. There is a 3 knockdown rule. The fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Dave, what do you see on the tail of the tape? Anything?
Well, Michael Moore being the experienced one, he's 36, De Silva 33. Moore with a height advantage, and De Silva listed as the reach advantage. The weight about the same, Moore a few pounds more. Let's see what happens when that first big right hand crashes by Moore.
Well, Moore, of course, tremendous experience. He won his title back in 1994, the heavyweight division, that is, by defeating Evander Holyfield to capture the WBA and the IBF championship. Later lost that to George Foreman in a fight that he was winning every single round except the last 2 seconds of the fight. And when you get knocked out, then he came back to defeat Axel Schultz to reclaim the IBF heavyweight title in 1996. So he's a good one, coming off that October victory over Rogerio Lobo. And this guy, De Silva, up from a place called Caruaru in Brazil. A little punchy around the middle, but has had a lot of success fighting in Brazil. 24-4, 19 knockouts. These guys come up here, they think they're fighting an aging guy, but they forget he's a former heavyweight champion of the world. And this guy doesn't look like he got himself in the best possible shape that he could be in, does he?
No, and he hasn't fought in quite a long time, and that was a knockout loss at that back in April of last year. It's a question of, can you rise up from the circuit you're at to make the big jump and fight a heavyweight in America? Fighters try it, they get the dream of one big performance and their whole career is turned around. We'll see a lot the first time he gets hit. We will know.
Well, as Dave pointed out, we get a unique situation here with 2 southpaws, both jabbing with the right hand, but Michael has power with both hands. He can drop a guy with a left hand. And look at this, Mike jabbing away with that right. And he can drop the right hand with a lot of power. He can really crush it with the left. He tried to get that left through that time, and De Silva able to cover himself up. Silva comes with an uppercut, but it misses.
Even though Michael Moore moved up from the cruiserweight light heavyweight division, he has still had good power as a heavyweight and enough to stay in there and keep himself active. And he had some incredible shootouts, like against Burt Cooper, a knockdown fest in which he was able to survive and win that one. And there's a certain grit and determination to Michael Moore.
One of the best fights I think I ever saw him in wasn't even a world title fight, but it was against Francois Botha. And boy, that was a real tough fight when Botha was in his prime and Michael probably in his prime. But, you know, as we talked at the very top of this show, a guy like Moore with all of his ability and skills would be the type of guy that maybe one of these heavyweights will give a shot at. So Michael just wants to stay busy for another year or so and hopefully get in line for one more shot to become a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. And, of course, that leads to a huge payday if he does get his title shot.
Yeah, hone your skills and make one more run and hope that the right people take a look at you. You've got television going and you've got some marquee going.
Another guy that's looking for top 10 ranked heavyweights to fight him, anybody that'll fight him. is Chris Bird, the IBF heavyweight champ, and certainly Michael Moore, if he could get a few more wins, or at least a couple more wins under his belt, would love to step up and have a shot at that title. Two southpaws. And that's sort of the situation in the heavyweight division right now, where any one of the top 20 guys could get a shot at a title because of the present predicament in the heavyweight division. We'll be right back.
Come play in the Creek. Seminole Coconut Creek Casino. It's the serious hot machine players place. And now exclusively at Seminole Casinos, voted best machines by Casino Player Magazine. All your favorites, Double Diamond, Red, White, and Blue, Wild Cherry, and 5 times pay. Play them only at Seminole Casinos, located at 441 and Sample Road in Coconut Creek. What are you waiting for? Come play in the Creek.
All right, we're set to go as you take a look at Michael Moore. We're coming up to the second round of this heavyweight battle, the main event here at the Seminole Coconut Creek Casino in Coconut Creek, Florida. And an interesting night of boxing, a couple of unusual happenings and a couple of good fights. And certainly Michael Moore wants to handle this guy, Jose da Silva, convincingly now here in the second round. Let's see if he opens up a little bit more. Michael Moore, of course, in the green trunks. Two southpaws, so they look almost like they're orthodox fighters when you see two southpaws in there, Dave.
Well, you take away the strategy of fighting the lefty. Forget about the right hand lead, forget about the double left hook, forget about the positioning of the feet. All that goes out the window. And so you go back to the old way and basically opens up the right hook for both guys, and it takes away some of that angular positioning, and then it boils down to power now.
Well, Michael not giving a lot of side-to-side movement. He knows what he can do with this guy. He's looking for an opportunity to soften him up with a jab and land that powerful left hand in there. And so he comes with the uppercut. There it was. It was right there, but he didn't quite land it. He got off with it just a bit. At age 36, Moore really never hurt. He was taken out in the first round of the David Tuo fight, but he wasn't really hurt in that fight, and even though he was knocked out. And that's kind of the way his career has been. He was stopped too by George Foreman several years ago, but a lot of exhaustion in that fight at the end of the fight.
And that was a big turning point, and then he was able to get it back.
He's got power with chopping left hands. He's got power with the right hand.
Poncho, get out. Poncho, get out.
Of course, the power shot for the southpaw, you don't need me to tell you, is the left hand. That he can knock you out with what would be a right hook in his case, or the left hand.
Good body shot.
Yeah. And that's what he probably wants to do with this guy, is bang that big belly of Jose da Silva. Isaiah Clark is working in the corner of Michael Moore. And Isaiah, we want to ask you, what do you see? How's Michael doing in your eyes?
He's doing good right now. You know, we're trying to get this guy timing down so we can go to counter and shot. We're establishing the jab. And we're going to do some body work, you know, to soften this guy up a little bit.
Yeah, Michael doesn't seem to be pressing too much, but he's doing all he has to do. He won the first round. He's winning the second round. Yes. So it's unfolding just the way you want.
Yes, definitely.
Isaiah, you don't push him for the knockout?
Working, Michael. Come on, Michael, dig. Dig to the body, Michael, dig. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike.
All right, so we thank you, Isaiah, for spending a couple of moments with us.
There you go, Michael.
As Isaiah continues to coach Michael Moore. 39 seconds to go in this the second round.
As da Silva ties up and tries to make this a fight on the inside where he can get some shots off and save some stamina, Moore is happy to oblige and goes to the body with good shots.
The Silva better pull his trunks up. There he goes. He tries to get him up.
He'll have multicolored trunks if he doesn't pull them up.
That's right. He has that right arm hooked over Moore. Moore just very business-like working with this guy. Not panicking, taking his time, trying to land the power shot, and the bell ends round number 2. Just a nice, easy round for Michael Moore to just outbox this guy. We take a look at Jose da Silva.
And Michael Moore in round 2 getting da Silva close to him. And that sets him up for attack. The right hook sneaking in. The second right hook is good, and then da Silva hangs on at the end of the round, and Michael Moore shoves him away.
Well, you heard what Isaiah Clark had to say. You know, it's just soften him up to the belly a little bit, get the timing down, and sooner or later they'll be able to land that big, powerful left hand.
You got to figure the guy you're fighting hasn't been in action for a while, lost his last fight early, and could fold up quickly if you throw some adversity at him.
All right, Bob Sheridan with Dave Bontempo, Mark Goldberg, Michael Moore in the green trunks, coming at you from the far side, now to the left of your screen, and in the red trunks is Jose De Silva. This is round number 3, and a scheduled 10-round affair. Would be most surprised if this one goes the distance. Michael Moore wants to be impressive, try to creep his way into the top 20 and sneak up the top 20 to get a shot at the title. There's Michael opening up a little bit more here. There's a little bit of cut in the eyebrow, the right eyebrow of De Silva right now.
And we're seeing more teeing off now with the right hooks to the body, getting a lot more into that and trying to wear down the heart of De Silva.
A cracking right hand that time.
And that has to be discouraging for De Silva as he figures he's on even terms. He's against another lefty. He's on the inside. He's trying hard. And then he gets beat by a decisive punch. But the right-hand shot, he doesn't have that same type of power.
Guy's a gamer, though. He comes right back, Dave. He tries to do as best he can. Hey, let's make no mistake about it. This guy doesn't have the ability of the former champ, Michael Moura. This is a tough kid, probably a street kid down there in Brazil, where they don't have the same competition as you have up in the United States in the heavyweight division. And the guys, when they take the trip north of the border, it's very, very difficult for them, even against an aging former champ like Moura. But Moura has the skills, he has the ring smarts. Terrific guy, as you saw in our feature piece. A long time friend of Michael Moura, and a great admirer of Michael. I want to get a couple of comments from the corner of De Silva, because Luis Tapia, who's been training him for the past week or so.
Yeah, you know, like you mentioned, you know, Jose is a guy that never look in shape, but like he actually in shape, you know. Jose works hard, and that's the way that he looks. You know, his physical look like that, but like, he always trains in shape. Unfortunately, you know, we got this fight in a short notice, and but like you guys see, he can get to fight, and he's doing pretty good, you know.
What do you have to avoid the power shot of Michael
well,
Moura?
the plan is to use the jab, because Jose has a great job, use a lot of jab and good movement. Move his hip, right, left, you know.
And you talk about the body style, he looks like he's overweight to us, but
no,
we've been around.
No,
Louis, we've been around long enough to see guys like Tony Tubbs, who became champion of the world, that had a similar body style and became the champ.
Yeah,
not James Tony, Tony Tubbs I'm talking about.
No, but James Tony too.
Yeah.
But
All right.
you know, Jose always looked like that. You know, he looked like a guy out of shape. He looked like a guy. Okay.
Well, he's hanging in there pretty good. Louis, thanks for joining us. We're coming up to the end of this third round.
No problem.
We appreciate it. Okay. The comments of Luis Tapia, who handles quite a few fighters. And it's another nice boxing round for Michael Moura, who's really not pushing himself any more than he has to. He's just winning the round.
Couple combinations here and there, working the body, maybe waiting for one big shot to open up.
Moura's an interesting guy, very nice guy, can be quiet. If you don't know Michael, sometimes he can even seem silly, but we saw in the feature how nice he is to the kids. He went out for the Toys Potatoes at Christmas time, signed with Warriors Boxing.
He's a soft-spoken guy, indeed he is.
And a terrific guy. Look at this replay.
And here's Michael Moura as De Silva comes at him and shows some offense and able to drive Michael Moura off the mark in that last instance as he came lunging in and then caught Michael Moura on the second shot. Still like to see him step it up a notch and take this for a little bit more urgency.
Well, Luis Tapia, if he's accurate, and there's no reason to believe he's not, you know, this guy doesn't look like he's an athlete, does De Silva, but body type does have a lot to do with it. Moura, a gifted athlete, a terrific athlete. At age 36, he wants one more shot. So he's got to turn it up just a notch now to try and take this guy out of here. They didn't want to fool around with him much longer, I wouldn't think.
No, because you give a guy a chance to think that he can either stay in the fight or make you look bad. You know, for Michael Moura, it's not just winning a fight. He has to win it a certain way to keep his momentum going. And a certain way is a powerful, aggressive type of a fight or a knockout, but not a route-going, get-the-rounds type of a decision at this point.
Michael hasn't fought since August. Digging body shot that time with the right hand. Looking to land the powerful left. But again, you heard the corner when we talked to Isaiah Clark say that Michael wants to soften this guy up because this guy may be better than what he looks like. You know, who knows? You don't know how good a guy is with 24 wins that's fought all his fights in Brazil. We have no idea how good this guy. All we can do is judge by what we see. And one thing I can say about him is he's game.
He's hanging in there, and Michael Moore is letting him do that by essentially allowing the pace of a sparring session to set in here. Not that he's treating him like a sparring partner, but I throw mine, you throw yours, I throw mine. Let's see who can step up and put a few combinations together and assert control in that manner.
By the look on Michael Moore's face, I thought this was the round where he was going to turn it up a notch and really try to land some bigger shots. But instead, De Silva continues to hang in there. And you know, Dave, you said something that makes a lot of sense too. You don't want to give a guy any false sense of confidence here either.
A guy comes up there and all of a sudden he finds that he's in this fight, and we're seeing a lot more confidence from De Silva now. He's putting some combinations together. Hey, maybe in his mind he's saying Michael Moore is 237. Maybe he should be 225. Maybe I caught him on the right night. We'll see.
That's what it's all about. 40 seconds to go now in the fourth round. And Michael still, in my opinion, needs to turn it up just a notch. But he's taking his time with this guy. His last couple of opponents, he blasted them out early, so maybe he wants to get a little bit more work. This is a very intelligent fighter, a smart guy, so Michael clipped him there. And it appears when he wants to, he can land shots, Dave.
And he really did in that last instance, and he put four together and showed that he can do it. And let's see if he comes out with a little bit more in the next round.
All right, closing seconds now. This is the fourth round of the fight. Michael Moore and Jose De Silva. Well, this is the shot from outside the Coconut Creek Casino, and it's just an absolutely beautiful January night here in South Florida. While most of the rest of the country, and for that matter, a lot of the world, you're in a deep freeze. Down here, it's absolutely beautiful and tropical. And the people inside the Coconut Creek Casino, next door, they're gambling here. Probably a few wagers on the fights as well. They're enjoying themselves. And the crowd really hung in here. They want to see Michael Moore fight. It's been an interesting night of boxing. Some quick knockouts.
And now you see Moore showing why he's a cut above this fighter as he comes in, fires the combinations, and gets a little bit going. And let's see if this is a carryover indicator now into round 5.
No sense of urgency, but one thing I noticed, not a lot of huffing and puffing in the corner of Michael Moore, indicating to me that this guy's in pretty good physical condition. All right, let's see if Michael, who has a kind of a look of concern, meaning that he may want to get down to business, let's see if he does just that in round number 5. Former two-time world champ in the heavyweight division and light heavyweight champ as well was Michael Moore. They pointed out to you earlier that is a guy that moved up to the heavyweight division that didn't sacrifice the power that he had at the light heavyweight division.
Always showed a lot of savvy and the ability to win fights and have this power mystique. I think he might be better served even if he shaved down to like 229 as he moved up on this road here. Took a few pounds off, being that where he started from to get into the heavyweight division. A few pounds less for Michael Moore, I think would be good for him.
I think you'd see that if, in fact, he was going to fight immediately for the heavyweight championship. But, you know, right now, question of how fine does he want to get as he fights every second or third or fourth month.
I think we might see a little bit fight by fight for him to come down as he gets a little bit more of a focus as to what's there for him.
Now, Jorge Alonso, a little warning to both fighters by keeping it clean. What they were both doing is kind of hitting the back part of the body as they twist their bodies, and they don't want any kidney shots. Michael jumps on him that time. Trying to get his hands on the inside. De Silva would love to fight just this type of fight. For him, it would be almost a moral victory if he could drag the former two-time heavyweight champ into the 10th round, you know?
He would try to lull him to sleep based on the fact that they're mirror image stylistically, lefty versus lefty, and they have this pace going. Hey, even lefties hate to fight lefties.
Well, that's for sure. You don't have an opportunity to fight too many. Although in recent years, I've seen it happen more often than we used to see it several years ago.
It used to be that fighters would basically take the style of their training. The trainers were writers and they wouldn't do that, and now we're seeing trainers going to what would be the natural style of the fighter.
In workman-like fashion, Michael Moore just continues to build up points on De Silva. De Silva complaining that Michael whacked him with the elbow, and he may have.
Yeah, I think the pace of this fight does have a lot to do with them both being lefties and wanting to fight the same way. They both want to establish the jab before they get into something else. And De Silva's been willing to do that. Moore's been willing to do that and wait for De Silva to make a mistake.
De Silva, you can tell, is a fighter. I mean, he has the movements, the head movements, the trunk movements, and all you need is that little bit of movement to cause a guy to miss shots. Michael just hasn't been able to land and blast him with a big shot that he'd like to land with that left hand. Trying to set him up for it, though. And Michael makes him miss and then reaches out with his own right hand. And the bell ends the 5th round.
You want real action? Get to the Seminole Coconut Creek Casino. Come play America's favorite hot machines. Real games. Real close. On February 28th, the commitment continues. Warriors Boxing in Seminole Tribe of Florida once again offer an exciting night of championship boxing. Join the excitement. See it live. Call 1-877-50-FIGHT. Now that's real excitement.
Hey, by the way, I want to tell you that warriorsboxing.com on the web. You check in with webmaster Bruce, and you can find out about everything that's going on with Warriors Boxing. And they continue to sign fighters, and Michael Moore here having a pretty workmanlike performance, I would say.
Workmanlike. I think he has to come out with more fire. I mean, don't forget, you've been the former heavyweight champion of the world. There are always critics amplifying and measuring your performance, and I think he needs to step it up and address that.
And I think he realizes that, and I expect to see him do that. I don't expect to see, and you can tell now by double and tripling jab that maybe this is the round that Michael does want to turn it up a notch and try to end this thing now. The fighters throughout the course of the evening, as the corners have got ever so much more wet and damp and get on the shoes, it's a problem with that logo in the center, and that happens throughout the course of an evening. This fight being the final fight in a card that started several hours ago here in Coconut Creek. So Michael looked like he wanted to turn it up a notch. He still looks like he's waiting for that opportunity to land the big shot and end it with one big shot there.
You still have to show people why you were the heavyweight champion of the world. Even if it was 10 years ago the first time. And you still have to have that power and show that you've got that intelligence and the mystique and the fact that you can beat all these other guys. And you can't be content with just a points decision. And when people say, I want to put the rounds in and everything like that, that's not so good all the time, because you can hurt your hand, you can get a headbutt, and that can derail you.
Yeah, Michael Moore doesn't need rounds at this stage of his career. He needs an impressive round to finish this fight, and he looks impressive right now. More impressive now than at any time during the course of the fight. So if he wanted rounds, he's got himself 5 rounds plus in now, and it's time to, close the show.
Now you can get your rounds in the gym. But here you want to finish the guy off. I think he's seeing another lefty is an unwelcome sight for him.
Well, it's not something that he would be used to a lot, and I'm sure he knew nothing about De Silva coming into this fight, so he probably didn't know that he was fighting a southpaw probably the last couple of days. But for a guy that's been around and a 3-time world champ, he should be able to handle that. And I'm not criticizing Michael, because he's winning every single round. He's doing what he has to do. The object is to outbox a guy. Nice stiff jab that time.
Yeah, but he's going to be measured on 2 fronts. One is within the scoring realm of this fight, and 2 is within the realm of the heavyweight division, because he would like to make a run there. And in order to do that, I think there has to be more fire in him than what he's showing tonight.
Well, we may see that before it's over. We're in the 6th round, and we've got 7, 8, 9, and 10 to go after the next 14 seconds here. So we may see Michael open up. And it appears, you know, he's busier in this round than he was in the last round. And now he goes after him. And there's some of the fire, but he's going to run out of time here in the 6th round as we're waiting for the bell. And there it is. But just another 10-9 round for Michael Mora. He's won every round of my scorecard.
Oh, he can throw a shutout and a no-hitter for the rest of this fight. And anytime he would fight a guy with this particular background. The question is, can he step up? Now here is Michael Mora. There's the Silva. Mora coming in, and this is some of the fire we talked about, the right hook. He steps up again, puts the shots together, and then De Silva ties him up. So another 10-9 for Michael Mora.
This guy De Silva, by the way, works as a personal bodyguard down in Brazil. And he has a look. He's a nice sort of guy to try and talk to, but I imagine he's some kind of tough. He's showing that against Michael Mora tonight. All right, we're coming up to round number 7. You're watching Warriors Boxing. We're coming to you from the Seminole Casino at Coconut Creek as you take a look at the Seminole logo in the center of the ring. Michael Mora in the green trunks, as you see there, former world champ against Jose De Silva, the pride of Caruaru in Brazil, outside of Sao Paulo. Well, Mora wants to turn it up a little bit here in the 7th round and try and take this guy out, and let's see if he does that. The crowd kind of anxious. There's kind of a hopeful anticipation they're going to see some fireworks before this will end, and nobody's leaving the house here. They've had a terrific night of boxing throughout the course of the evening here. Some fights that didn't make television were exciting, and some that are on television were unusual. But it's been a very entertaining night of boxing here at Coconut Creek.
And if you've come here to gamble, you know, this is the main event guy. Fight won't be over in too much longer. You have 4 rounds at the most, so stay, see what kind of fireworks you get from Michael Mora. Goes to the body shot, and the right hook is open for him.
Dave, once again, I want to thank Peter Kahn, who works public relations for Warriors, for all his help leading up to these fights for us. Peter does a great job. We're in round number 7.
Now De Silva covering up and Mora getting to him on another level now.
Michael doesn't seem to be breathing too hard, not waiting as much as he was. He'd love to land that big power shot and trying to do so. Silva presenting a problem in that he is the southpaw and he's a rough and tumble guy. But Michael at this stage has got to realize, hey, I gotta look impressive here. I gotta finish this thing strong.
Everybody looks at you and based on what you've done in the past, and you want to fast track your way into that heavyweight picture. They need to see you scoring knockouts.
You know, it's a difficult task for the matchmakers and the head of boxing, really, Jesse Robinson, to get a competitive fight for these guys that they think can move up in the heavyweight division. And on the other hand, you don't want it to be a walkover, and De Silva's proven he's not a walkover here, but there's a good shot there that might have hurt him. Now Michael jumps on him.
He's ready to go now.
Well, his heels are right down to the canvas, and Michael opens up, bangs the body underneath the elbow. He wants to finish it. Nice uppercut on the inside. And this is the fire we've been waiting for throughout the course of the night. The eyes are blinking of Jose De Silva. Michael Mora moves in as the blood streams from the right eye of De Silva. Michael would love to finish it here, but he's running out of time in the 7th round, and they have to wait till the 8th. The cut beside the right eye of Jose De Silva. Closing seconds now of this, the 7th round. But you get the idea that Michael could open up whenever he wanted to, and in the 7th round, he did open up.
Final half of the 7th round, very good to Michael Mora. He had another minute to work with. Had a very good chance to finish this fight as he had De Silva shaking his head for the first time in this fight and not wanting more of the action.
Well, as I look at Michael in his corner, you see, you know, there's going to be a certain amount of fatigue. The guy's 36 years of age. He's getting ready to go to the 8th round. And while it hasn't been the explosive sort of fight we thought, these guys aren't short on work in this fight. And it's not just a sloppy, grappling, hanging on type fight. These guys are working.
They have similar styles, and that's blocked them, but they're always throwing their jabs out and trying to establish something behind it. This fight doesn't have long to go. In the corner, they're debating whether Silva will continue.
I see Dr. Fields coming in,
Maybe
and it may be all over. Trying to get a word from the referee, and it appears that it is over, that the cut by the eye, he's unable to come out for the 8th round. I haven't got an official acknowledgement from the referee yet. He's talked to Dr. Fields, who's in there, and it appears that the fight's over. But again, Jorge Alonso has not indicated to us over here that the fight is over.
Well, he did it to the judges on the other side.
Well, I look down at Bill Connors, who's one of the officials, and he indicates to me, yes, it is over, so we'll take his word for it.
The referee indicated to the judges on the other side that it was over, and fighters are embracing, so this is done.
All right, so we'll make it official then when we go to our ring announcer, but while we look in there, we can tell you that the fight is officially over, and Michael Moore will win on a technical knockout, in that De Silva cannot come out for the 8th round, cut by the right eye. We mentioned that cut there, and you see the doctor working on it, and it must be right down to the bone, because it's in a very bad spot right in the corner of the eye.
And this is what he was shaking his head at in the last round. When De Silva had that cut, and was shaking his head, he didn't want any more of it. See how bad it is.
Well, we can make it official by going to our ring announcer, Damian Pinto. So let's make it official. Damian.
Ladies and gentlemen, the blue corner is unable to answer the bell in round number 8. Your winner by way of technical knockout, Michael Moore.
All right, we're going to have an interview with Michael Moore momentarily. Mark Goldberg is going in there. We'll wait till they get the gloves off, and he's set to go. And as soon as we see him in position, we will have the interview. As you see Dr. Fields working on that eye, and apparently a very bad cut by the right eye of Jose De Silva. So Michael Moore, in fact, David, did turn it up at the end of the 7th round. He was able to get through there with some slashing shots and was able to rip open that eye of De Silva. So when he wanted to turn it up a notch, he did.
It's still there for him when he can put it together, and the question will be fight to fight. Will we see more of what we did in the last 2 rounds of this fight from Michael Moore?
I don't know if we were too critical of Michael Moore, or we were just anticipation that we wanted